Welcome back, everyone. Ready to dive into some more fascinating research? Today, we're going to be exploring AI and learning.
Really interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's not about, robot teachers taking over classrooms. It's more like how AI can be this partner in our learning journey.
Yeah, like augmenting our own abilities.
Exactly. Augmenting, not replacing. I like that.
Yeah, it's a really exciting area. It is, and we've got two really cool research articles to dig into today. The first one, it's all about this concept called socially shared regulation of learning, SSRL.
And how AI can play a role in that. The potential there is huge. I mean, when we think about it, we rarely learn in a vacuum, right?
Right, bouncing ideas off each other, giving feedback, kind of adjusting our approach based on who we're learning with. And that's really what SSRL is all about.
So it's like group learning taken to the next level. Not just me being aware of my own learning process, but like a group awareness.
Absolutely, and what's really fascinating is that AI can actually give us incredible insights into all of that. Okay, so let's break this SSRL thing down a bit. This first article we've got, it's from the British Journal of Educational Technology, and it talks about how groups regulate learning together.
It's really interesting because they introduce this idea of a trigger concept. You know those moments in a group project where maybe someone voices their confusion and it kind of throws everyone off? Researchers actually call those trigger events.
Oh yeah.
And AI can help us understand them better.
Okay, I'm all ears. Give me some real-life examples of these trigger events in action.
So let's say you're working on a project, right? And someone in the group is just like, wait, I'm totally lost.
Yep, been there.
Right. It disrupts the flow, and the group has to figure out how to respond. Do they explain it again? Do they break it down differently? Maybe someone else was thinking the exact same thing, but was too afraid to speak up. These moments are really key to understanding group dynamics. So how do they even track these trigger events?
It's like AI could give us this window into like the unspoken stuff happening in a group.
The study mentioned using things like physiological responses.
Were you talking like hooking study groups up to heart rate monitors or something?
Believe it or not, it's surprisingly accurate for tracking things like stress responses, excitement, even those aha moments. You could say that. They use things like electrodermal activity, or EDA, which basically measures tiny changes in your sweat gland activity. Okay, so we've got all this data, right? So even if you're trying to hide your stress, your sweat glands will betray you. I love it.
Exactly.
Facial expressions, sweat glands, maybe even tone of voice all happening at once. Like those furrowed brows, a sudden pause, a change in someone's EDA can connect the dots and say, okay, something significant just happened here.
That's the beauty of AI. It can analyze all those subtle cues that we as humans might miss in real time, right?
Like having an extra set of super observant eyes on the whole learning process. So this isn't just theoretical, right? They actually tested this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a really cool study with high school students.
High school students, okay.
And get this.
Smoothies. Okay, now I need to hear more about this.
So researchers had these groups of high school students work together to design healthy smoothies, right? But here's the thing. They introduced what they called cognitive and emotional triggers.
That'll be a fun project.
To kind of shake things up.
Okay, I knew there had to be a twist. What kind of triggers are we talking about? Like a smoothie-related meltdown?
Not quite a meltdown, but for the cognitive trigger, imagine a customer coming up and being like, hold on, I'm allergic to dairy and latex. What can I have?
Oh, that would throw a wrench in your smoothie-making plans.
Right. It forces them to rethink their ingredients, their process, maybe even their whole concept.
Definitely a trigger event for sure. Yeah, what about the emotional trigger?
Yeah. For that, they had an actor play a customer who was like impatient and demanding, complaining about the service.
Oh, so like that emotional curveball you might encounter in a real-world job.
Exactly. I can see where this is going. So they hit these students with the triggers, and then the AI swoops in to analyze how they reacted. Like, did their stress levels go through the roof? Did they totally freeze up? And was everyone in the group affected the same way? Exactly. That's exactly what they were looking at. And what's really cool is that AI can actually help us understand those emotional responses on an even deeper level. They actually used AI to analyze facial expressions, which can tell us a lot about what someone is feeling, even if they don't say it out loud.
Wow, it's like they're reading minds, but with AI.
And it's not just about the individual feeling those things in a group, right? It's about the whole group dynamic. So AI can also track how these emotional responses, like frustration or excitement, actually spread through the group. Like, did one student's frustration kind of set off a chain reaction? Did someone else step in and kind of calm things down and regulate the group's emotions?
Oh, what? Yeah,
It's really fascinating stuff.
it really is. It's like sometimes you can just feel the tension in a group project, or someone cracks a joke and it totally diffuses the situation. So AI could actually pinpoint those moments for us.
Exactly, it's all about making those invisible dynamics visible.
I love it.
Okay, so we've gone deep into smoothies and stress and AI mind reading, but we have another study to unpack, and this one, I gotta say, this one really speaks to me personally because it's about writing. And as you know, I do. It's my jam. So you mentioned something about doctoral students and AI writing tools. You love to write. Yeah, this study was really fascinating. It was published in the journal Studies in Higher Education, and they looked at how doctoral students were using AI writing tools like ChatGPT. And what they found was super interesting. There's no one right way to use AI.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've seen people use ChatGPT in so many different ways, right? Some people treat it like a magic essay writing machine, while others are a lot more cautious, like using it just for brainstorming or getting over writer's block. Did this study kind of find something similar?
Yeah, they actually identified two distinct strategies. They called them structured adaptivity and unstructured streamline.
Okay, those names are a mouthful.
Yeah,
Can you break those down for me? What do those strategies actually look like in practice?
Yeah, so structured adaptivity, think of that as the more dynamic approach. These students are constantly going back and forth between their own writing and using the AI. Okay, they're prompting it, refining the output, and integrating it with their own ideas. They really see AI as a thought partner, almost like having a brainstorming buddy built into their computer.
That's such a cool way to think about it. So it's like AI becomes an extension of their own writing process. What about the unstructured streamline folks? Are they just like copying and pasting whatever ChatGPT spits out?
Not necessarily, but their approach was definitely more linear. So they would typically prompt the AI, copy the generated text, paste it into their document, and maybe do some light editing. So for them, AI was more of a content generator, almost like a supercharged note-taking tool.
Got you. Okay, so two very different approaches. So I'm dying to know, did one strategy lead to better writing than the other?
Yeah, so here's the surprising part. The students who used that structured adaptivity approached the ones who treated AI more as a thought partner. They actually tended to write higher quality essays.
Yes, sir.
Their writing was more coherent, more insightful, more engaging.
That makes sense, though, right? If you're just copying and pasting from the AI, you're not really engaging with the ideas, you're not developing your own voice. You're not pushing yourself to think critically. It's like the difference between tracing a picture and actually learning how to draw.
Exactly. And that's really the key takeaway here. It's about the collaboration, not just the tool itself. AI can be this incredible partner in learning, but it's up to us to figure out how to use it in a way that actually enhances our human skills, not replaces them.
It reminds me of that saying, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. It's about learning from the learn, and I feel like AI can be this really powerful ally in that journey. But we have to be active participants in the process.
That's a beautiful analogy, and it really gets at the heart of what we're talking about here. AI isn't about replacing our brains, it's about giving us new tools to make our brains even better.
It's like AI is giving us this whole new language for understanding how we learn, one that's based on data and patterns and all these incredible insights that we couldn't see before. It's really pretty mind-blowing.
And with this new language, we can start to become much more intentional about our learning. Like instead of just going through the motions, we can actually start to recognize those trigger moments, those emotional shifts, those collaboration patterns that might be throwing us off track, and we can actually use that awareness to our advantage.
So how does all this apply to like someone listening right now? Maybe they're a student, maybe they're a teacher, or maybe they're just fascinated by learning and AI. What's the big takeaway here?
I think the biggest takeaway is that we are really on the verge of a massive transformation in how we learn. AI is giving us these incredible new tools to understand and actually optimize the learning process, both for ourselves and in groups. But, and this is a big but, it's not about just passively letting AI take the wheel. It's about actively engaging with these tools, experimenting with them, reflecting on what works, and figuring out how AI can best support our own unique learning journeys.
So it's about becoming the best learners we can be with AI as our guide and partner, which is a pretty powerful idea and something we can all start exploring right now. It's not some distant future, it's happening now.
Exactly. There are already so many AI-powered learning tools out there and more are popping up all the time. I think the key is to approach them with a sense of curiosity, that willingness to experiment and kind of see what happens.
Makes you wonder what the possibilities are like. I am already thinking about how I can use these insights to improve my own writing. Maybe I need to start treating ChatGPT less like a shortcut and more like a brainstorming partner, and really dig into those ideas together.